Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at Enjin. Before we do, we usually look at Bitcoin, but I'll just make a separate video altogether for that. Just know I usually make daily Bitcoin videos now, just based on demand, etc. So also bear in mind too, not a financial advisor. Love teaching people how to trade, and I hope you can learn a thing or two here today. And we're really just going to truly try to understand dollar cost average targets, as well as where the price may continue to progress down. Again, in most cases, I like to look at a better case scenario for big picture where things are going to go. But at this point, ultimately with Enjin, we want to kind of understand, where it might continue to progress lower because we're kind of getting closer to this bottom, and it's just kind of, I wouldn't say it's slowly bleeding out, but it's not doing as well as we'd like, right? Most coins are doing that right now, so not kind of a big surprise. But anyways, we're going to look at some dollar cost average targets and also just identify kind of where we're at overall. Now, if you are new to the channel, thank you so much for joining me here. I do have a trading community if you're interested in becoming a better, more consistent trader. We have a short position open right now with Bitcoin, and we are taking profits. So all good stuff there in that sense. But with Enjin, let's go ahead and take a look here at the obvious. So we got the one-day chart here. We've got also the 50-day moving average working its way down. Obviously, that's going to work as a negative catalyst, so to speak, to push the price action further down. But the 200 is working its way up. And it is kind of, the 200 is really close to the previous, most recent low, right? So on January 10th, we saw the lowest point for Enjin. I think with Bitcoin too, we saw a pretty low wick down. So no surprise, right? Very similar to Bitcoin behavior, right around $2.08. So 208 is essentially the place in which the 200-day SMA is holding. So the likelihood of the price coming in below that is fairly low. The 200 SMA has a strong tendency of holding price in place, especially on the one-day chart. So that's a very, very positive sign. But what we want to look at too also is the amount of volume we have overall, because that'll help us understand dollar cost average targets. So looking at the volume, again, this is just in the most recent, this is roughly about 3.5 to 4 months worth of data, right? We can see the most amount of volumes above the price action presently. That's pretty standard for a lot of coins right now. We can also see this gap here. I don't know if you see how little volume there is below 208 and above 158. So just to prepare you for the worst case scenario, if you were to lose the bottom of 208, that 200-day SMA doesn't hold, we do have somewhat of a free fall between 156 and 208 as a rough estimate there again. Okay, again, and when I say free fall, it just means that there's not a lot of volume there, not a lot of buying pressure. So in turn, we could see more selling pressure with the price coming down. Okay. So just be aware that I foresee, if Bitcoin were to drop to say 40,500 or lose that support level, then we could see Enjin do a little candle wick down to 175 and then probably recover. Okay. Again, that's just kind of where we're at there. And then if we look even further back, of course, let's go back to the lowest point as a rough estimate. When we saw, back in May when we had our lowest point for Bitcoin, obviously very strong volume accumulation, closer to about 145. Okay. Then if we go all the way to just say right here about September 7th, the El Salvador candle, we can see we have a decent amount of volume accumulation, which is roughly that's about 4 months worth of data. And so in the last 4 months, we see a tremendous amount of volume between 156 and 175, but still that gap remains right between 185 and 208. So bear in mind, we lose 208, we could very well see 175 or lower as the next potential target. So a dollar cost average target, just based on this simple information here, to keep it really straightforward for you, would be just, I would set your targets, your DCA targets at 175 and then 157. Say just above those major Fibonacci retracement levels. Because again, when you're taking profits and you're going up, right, you want to set your profit targets just below a major Fibonacci retracement level. When the price is coming down, your dollar cost averaging, oftentimes it'll bounce off those specific price points. So 175, just a little bit above, would be a good consideration for a buy signal, or not necessarily a buy signal, just you set a limit order essentially, set it and forget it, because you could effectively get filled if we get a candle wick down, right? So that's the beautiful thing about that. So be smart about your DCA. Don't again, never invest a full amount of your portfolio into one coin, right? Have a small percentage for Enjin. I would say 3 to 5% of your total portfolio should be the max you have allocated per coin, to ensure you're not, diluting yourself with too many coins, but also ensuring that you are not putting too much into one basket, right? So again, there's a handful of things you can consider, but that's kind of where we're at. Last thing we want to quickly take a look at would be the 4 hours, kind of see what the midterm looks like here for Enjin. We're below both moving averages. The price has been progressing down pretty consistent. That's concurrent with Bitcoin's behavior, and we're at a 9 right now. Plus, actually, we're we're 4 hours into overtime, so to speak. So we shouldn't expect the price to come down much lower. Again, pending Bitcoin doesn't do anything stupid and the price falls, the bottom falls out for Bitcoin. Again, check out my other video for Bitcoin. I referenced it yesterday explaining why the price will likely continue to progress downward, and you can understand more about that if you want to look at that, or just wait for the video later today I'm going to put out for Bitcoin, kind of reiterating that fact that we're probably not out of the woods yet. I do think 40,500 would be probably a pretty good place to consider adding to your position, and we're pretty much almost there. So I do think we're going to find the bottom for Bitcoin soon, but by no means does it seem that it's done retracing for the moment. And that's reflected here on Enjin. So just be mindful of that. So again, if you're going to consider dollar cost averaging, those two price points, I would say 157 and 175. And then also maybe even consider dollar cost averaging closer to 208. There wouldn't be anything wrong with that per se, right? Because Enjin, I feel, is still a good coin. Can it get back up to $485? Yeah, it's still very realistic. We just can't expect that to happen right away. Okay, very few coins right now are breaking free from Bitcoin, and it's just kind of this constant fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There's this last surge to the downside for Bitcoin before it recovers. Even though I do feel it'll recover, and coins like this will definitely make a surge in February, March, and April, I don't see that happening immediately. So just continue to add your position, dollar cost average whenever necessary, and just once again, 157, $1.75, and possibly even 209 would be good considerations for DCA targets. Okay. So hope you found benefit here. If so, like and subscribe. If not, that's okay too. Thank you so much for joining me here. And of course, to my community members for requesting that I cover this. Greatly appreciate you. We'll see you in the next one. Have a good rest of your day. See you soon.